Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Hayemi Maseches ARACHIN Daf Yud Aleph. We begin 7 lines off the top of the Amud, 7. It's corresponding to the seven notes that we have in music, which is actually the grand topic of today's Daf. It's all about Shira, singing, and the music that was sung in the Beis Hamikdash. And actually, the Sefer HaChinuch writes the purpose of the Levim singing during the offering of Karbanis is to evoke feelings of introspection and teshuvah, to get the people emotionally involved and inspired to aspire for greater things. So who was involved in singing? Of course, it was the Levim. That was their task, to accompany the Kehanim in their actual offering of the Karban. The Levim would come and sing along specifically during the pouring of the wine, with the Nisuch Hayayin, which was a steady accompaniment to Karbanis. And then we have the instruments, the band. So who was involved in playing the band? Va'avdis Kayanim Hayu, says the Mishnah. Actually, we have 3 shittas. Now some say actually this is only regarding the chalal, the flute, but the rest were played by the Levim. Some say it pertains to all the instruments. So 3 opinions. One is the avadim, slaves owned by Kehanim. They had time to go study all the intricacies of instrument playing, and they were the ones that were tasked with playing. According to the other shita, it was the Levim. Just like the singing were the Levim, so too the instruments. There was a middle shita which says they were Yisraelim, but special Yisraelim, unique ones, miyuchasim, with proper lineage, established yichus that would marry into Kohanim families. They were, well-respected families. They were the ones performing. So the question is, what's the point of discussion? What's the point of dispute here? Perhaps the machlekes, whether it was Avadim, Levim, or Yisraelim, revolves around the following question. Shira was for the Levim. What about instrumental music? Was that also part of the Levim's task or not? Perhaps that's the machlekes. Leim mokem miflegi. The mandam Avadim hayu. The one that maintains that the players or the Avadim kasavar, he holds ikar shira bepeh. Shira is primarily vocals, singing the poetry, the psukim of Tehillim, right? In sing-song, of course, and the instruments were just to enhance it. Ika shira b'peh, and only that needed to be the Levim. Ukli livsumi kala ba'almud avida. The kli, the instrument, was just to livsumi, to enhance kala, to give it an extra, a touch, to enhance the vocals. In which case, it need not be performed by the Levim. As long as the vocals were Levim, the instruments could be even avadim. And they were the experts at the time, right? So they were the ones that were sent to study, and they were the ones who do it. So even the avadim could do it. The other shita that maintains that we insist that even the music was performed by Levim, because he holds kasavar ikar shira bekli. Instrumentals were just as primary, just as critical as vocals. And just as the vocals were done by Levim, likewise, the band were made up of Levim players only. Can that be the point of machlekes of this? How can you suggest this? Because that explains the 2, sort of extreme shitas, Avadim or Levim. What about that middle sheet? How do you explain the middle sheet? Rabbi Yossi says that they were Yisraelim Yuchasim. Which track is he on? If Shira is primarily vocals, then Avadim, Ba'avadim Sagi, let the music be played by the Avadim. He holds the instruments were part of it. We need real Levim for that too. So it's Nishtahi, Nishtaher. Why is it somewhere in the middle? Why is it Yisraelim Yuchasim only? Certainly he goes with the opinion that Shira is primarily vocals. So technically, pretty much anybody can play the music, which just accompanies and enhances the choir. So why wouldn't you? So basically, we're going backtracking. Everybody holds a kasher repair. Everybody, all three shittas. So why wouldn't you allow anybody to do the music there? Oh, that's because of another concern. It might lead to confusion, to misinterpretation. A person sees a fellow playing there, says, "Oh, he must be a Levi, or he must be Israel." He's not thinking, well, instruments can be done by anybody. There's room for confusion and misunderstanding. We might certify a musician as a Levi by the mere fact that he's playing the music with the Levi. So that's the concern. The question is, to what extent do we have that concern? Here, b'malin. B'malin means to elevate, to certify. Miduchen, from the duchen was the stage on which they would play. L'yochsen, to consider him a miyuchas. Or the masters. Or to consider him certified as a Levi, with respect to having the ability to collect maser rishon like a Levi. That's the point of machlekes. To what extent are we concerned about this mistaken labeling and certifications? The one that says that even Avadim can play the music, because he says nobody will draw any conclusions in terms of his lineage. No, there's no concern of anybody certifying the band member as a miyuches or as a Levi. So therefore, we have the liberty of using even Avadim. The opinion that maintains that the player was a Levi, because somebody holds it's just the opposite. You see him playing with the Levim, you assume that he's a Levi. I'm a Yuchas, a Levi. So you have to make sure that the band members were in fact deserving of that status. The middle shita that says that Israel Miyuchasim, because he says, Malam Meduchan Liyachs, people will assume that he's Miyuchas, but not past that. So you have to make sure that at least he's a Yisrael Miyuchas. Tana Rabbanan. Hashir Ma'akav HaKorban. So shir is in fact a critical element of the Hakrabas HaKorban. It must, accompany the Nisuch Hayayin. It's a critical element. It's Ma'akev. It holds it back, meaning without the shir, it's invalid. Divrei Meir. Chacham disagree. As important as it is, Eini Ma'akev. It's not deemed critical. My time to Rameh. Why should Rameh say it's critical? That Makro, the pasuk says, "V'etnos halavim nusunum la'aron levanim technei Yisrael u'l'chaper bnei Yisrael." Hashem says, "I'm granting the Levim as a, accompanying the Kohanim to be machaper." So, we compare their task to the task of the Kohanim, which is l'chaper. Right? They're meant to sing together with the Kehanim who do the kapara. It's one and the same package. Ma kapara ma'akev is just like kapara, which means the applying of the dam, the springing of the blood of the korban, the mizbech, is certainly critical to the success of a korban. Shir ma'akev is likewise this song. Rabbanan disagree. Hahu, that pasuk which equates the Levim's singing to the kapara, not that it's critical. Li'idach, the Rebbe come for the other Allah Rebbe Lezer, it's to teach us the timing. So, although technically you can do the Nisuch Hayayin at night, but the korban has to be brought by day. Likewise, the singing that comes along with it. Not kapara b'yom, afshir b'yom, just like kapara is by day only, because the pasuk says b'yom tzavoyse has to be by day. Afshir b'yom, likewise, is shir. Amar b'dam Shmuel. Okay, we speak so much about the shira of the Levim, the choir, the instrumentals. How do we know, in fact, that there was shira? If you look throughout the Psukim, you don't find a clear, reference to singing and playing of the Levim. Where do we find, the actual source for shira in the Torah? Here comes no less than 10 sources. Shenemar, v'sheiros v'shem Hashem l'kov. So this is by the parsha of the Levi. He'll come and he'll serve v'sheiros in the name of Hashem, v'shem Hashem l'kov, invoking Hashem's name. What type of service invokes Hashem's name? What sheirus is synonymous with Hashem's name? Shira. That's the singing, where they sing the verses of Tehillim, which contain Hashem's name. Asks the Gemara, perhaps this pasuk is not a reference to the Leviim. It's the Kohanim, who are also part of Shevet Levi, and it's speaking about their Birchas Kohanim, that they bless us with Yivarechecha Hashem v'Yishmerecha, which invokes Hashem's name. The answer is Mindechsiv. If you look at the pasuk closely, you see that it's two separate things: l'shar soy, u'levarach v'shmai, to serve and to do bracha with Hashem's name. Mechal, apparently, it's two separate activities. The second item, which is the Birkas Kohanim, lav sheirus, that's not the sheirus that's mentioned before. Rather, the sheirus is referring to the Levim, who are serving by invoking Hashem's name, mentioning Hashem in the chapters of Tehillim that they recite, sing-song, during the Nisur Chayai. Okay, so we're looking for a source. Here's one. Rav Masna Amar Mihacha, I have another source. We have a pasuk in Dvarim. Tachas Hashaloi Avadto, Hashem Alekecha B'Simcha U'B'Tov Levav. So the klolis come on account of lack, not serving Hashem with happiness. Apparently, Hashem's service is meant to be done in a context of simcha, an expression of joy, expression of happiness. So specifically, what type of service, what type of avodah is in fact an expression of joy? Ezohi avodah shebesimcha u'b'tov levav. Havayim is a shira, that apparently is singing, is shira. As Rashi explains, around 10 lines from the top, interesting Rashi says, Ein adam shar shira. A person would not sing a song unless he's in a state of joy and happiness. He brings a pasuk in Yeshaya. You sing out of gladness of your heart. It's an expression of excitement, of happiness. So the avodah that's generated by simcha is shira. Ask the Gemara, but there's another option. Maybe it's not song, maybe it's learning Torah, which is the most happy experience in existence. As the pasuk says, says the Gemara, if you look closely, there's a subtle difference here in these semantics. Torah is mesamchelev ikri. It brings joy to one's heart, but toiv leiv leikri, we don't find toiv. Tesa says we find toiv many times, but not toiv leiv. Toiv leikri, we don't find the expression of toiv. It turns the heart, it transforms it into a heart of goodness. The heart itself experiences the joy and happiness. That's specific to singing, to rejoicing in Shira. Says the Gemara, so basically, pasuk speaks about the avodah which is related to toiv levav, that must be Shira. And although Torah is mesamchelev, but it's more of an intellectual exercise, more of an intellectual experience. It's more like, it's a state of mind. It's very happy, very joyous, but it's a state of mind. Versus Shira, which is a state of heart. Bikurim, hold it, maybe that pasuk of Tachas Hashalevata B'Simcha is talking about Bikurim. The bringing the first fruit, that's also associated with happiness. Well, Toiv Ikri. Yeah, it's called Toiv, but Toiv Levav Ikri, it's not found to be called Toiv Levav, which is limited to singing. Amar Masna, Menayin Bikurim Shitun in Shira. On this topic of Bikurim, so we know Shira accompanies a carbon. What about accompanying the offering of Bikurim? How do we know? Asya Toiv Toiv Mihacha, we have this connection. Agzera Shava. It says Toiv by Bikurim, as we just mentioned, and by Simcha, by Shira, it also says B'Tov Leva. Hence, we know that they would sing during the offering of Bikurim. Says the Gemara, hold it, but isn't Shira limited to wine, to the pouring of the wine? And Bikurim entails all kinds of fruit. Aini, is that so? How do we know that Shira is meant to accompany wine and wine only? Shenema, we have this pasuk in Shoftim where Yisam presented the people there with a parable. It says, imagine that all the trees in the orchard were looking for a king to nominate a melech, and they nominated the candidate, the vine. And he says, no, I got business to do. I have no time to be a politician. Shneimar, the Geffen turns to the other tree and says, what do you mean I'm going to stop doing my important work? You think I'm going to stop producing my wine? Hamasameach, which gladdens Elikim Banashim, Hashem and people? Of course not. I got business to do. Find somebody else to take the job. So the pasuk isn't just speaking, It's if it's a pasuk in Shoftim, it reflects reality. Meaning, a Geffen is mesameach. Anoshim, I understand people, drink wine to get a bit, excited. But what about Elikim? How is wine mesameach Elikim? Im anoshim mesameach. Sure, it's mesameach people. Elikim mesameach. How is it mesameach Hashem, so to speak? Mikan we learn from Misha in Shir al Yain. Now Shir in the Midrash, which is what he meant, mesameach Elikim, the joy, the happiness, the singing of the Shira, which brings simcha to Hashem, is associated with wine only. So during the pouring of the wine in the Mizbeach, that's when it's done. So how would you even suggest that it applies to Bikurim? Where you have pomegranates, you have grapes, you don't have wine. It could work out like this. Rabbi teaches us, true, priyata maybe. The pasuk specifies you have to bring fruit. Priyata maybe, mashkin can't deliver, juice or wine to the Beis Hamikdash. But suppose he brought some grapes in their grape form, and then he decided in the Beis Hamikdash on site, freshly squeezed grape juice, he's going to squeeze it on site. He brought the grapes as is, and pressed them right there. How do we know that it works? Tavi includes this example as well. This fellow who brought grapes and turned it into wine. So you have a proper Bikurim offering because he offered it as grapes, but then it turned into wine. So now you have the wine, which deserves a shira. Chizki Amar, here's another source for shira of Leviim during the Karbanis. Mihacha, v'chananyo, sar al-Leviim, yasser b'maso kimevin hu. Al Tikri Yasur, instead of reading Yasur, El Yashir. Yashir is a lot of Shira, you would sing with the Leviim at the Beis HaMikdash. Balvati, it's the name of a Chacham. Here's a source for Shira in the Beis HaMikdash. Lavoid avoidas avoida. Pasuk says we count the Leviim, right? They're meant to serve an avoidas avoida. Sounds like they're serving the servers. Can you find an avoida which needs another avoida? So basically, this avoida is accompanying another avoida. What kind of service is that? Habib is a shira, only one option, which is singing. So the song accompanies the actual avoida, the service of the kohanim who are offering the karbanos. Rabbi Yisrael, here's a source. Su zimra, su soif, novel, sing and play instruments in the Beis HaMikdash. Rav Achmad Yitzchak Mihacha, Heima Yisu Koilam Mirona B'Goyin Hashem Tzolom Miyam. So the pasuk is referring to the singing, the shira, when Hashem's reign will be reestablished. Lasad Lavai. Here we see a reference to singing in the Beis HaMikdash. Tana has another source. So the Bnei Kahas were not given these wagons to carry, the parts of the Mishkan, because they carry the holy part of the Mishkan, the Arayin, etc. They would have to carry it on their shoulders. But Kasef on their shoulders, okay. Yiso they carry, that's redundant. Obviously, once it says on their shoulder, of course they carry. In idea. So don't I already know they're carrying? So what's the extra word coming to teach us? It alludes to singing as well. And Yiso, Elashain, Shira. Yiso refers to singing, to raise their voice and song. Yiso, right? As the pasuk says, Su'u Zimra, raise your song and voice. A voice and song. Usnu Taif. V'aymer, we find another place, Yisu Kailam Rerainu, raising their voices in song. Chananya, Ben Achir Rabbi Shua Amar. He has another source. So Hananiah, the nephew of Rabbi Shua, Amar Mehach. Moshe Yedaber. Right, this is Bahar Sinai. Hashem speaks. Moshe Rabbeinu speaks. V'lakim Hananiah B'Koil. Hashem responds big koil. And we turn down the base. We learn Al Iske Koil. Moshe Rabbeinu was a Levi, right? Hashem instructed him Al Iske Koil on account of a voice-related matter, which is singing. Rashi says on the top line, Al Iskekol Shem Etzaveyu. He was instructing him to sing because he was a Levi. Rav Ashi Amar Miyacha, a different source. Vayika Echad Machatzatrim. So when they completed the building of Beis Hamikdash, they sang, they played instruments. Rabbi Yonasan Amar Miyacha. Here's a source for Shir Lavim and the Beis Hamikdash. So Hashem instructed Aaron HaKohen that the Kehanim should be in charge of their tasks, and the Levim as well have to be in charge of their tasks, and keep the unauthorized Yisraelim from getting involved. Okay, if you keep to your tasks and your guard the sanctity of the Mikdash, you'll be spared Misa, them and you, the Levim, and you, the Kehanim. Ma'atem, we compared the two things. Ma'atem avodas mizbeach. Apparently there's a correlation in terms of what you do in the Beis Hamikdash. Just like you, the Kehanim, are involved in avodas mizbeach, the karbonos, Afhem likewise the Levim also connected to this experience of avodas mizbeach. And of course they're not bringing karbonos. Apparently they're meant to sing along to enhance the avodah of the karbonos. Tanya, Namiyachu, you find the same in a brayso. V'lo yamusu, gam hem gam atem. So the pasuk matches your service to their service. Ma'atam, just like you, the Kehanim, are involved ba'avodas mizbeach. Avhem, likewise the Levim, are involved ba'avodas mizbeach. And the pasuk is teaching us that each one is meant to stick to his own job. Atam mishalahem. But if the Kehanim decide to veer over, cross over, and do the Levim's jobs, and they decide to do your tasks, b'misa, there's an Eish HaMisa. But Heim B'Shalahem, suppose within the Levim families themselves, who were designated, some were tasked with singing, the ones with the nice voices. Some families were given different jobs to be the gatekeepers, lock and unlock the doors. Taisa says, Mishpacha Shayu Mishayarim, they were the Shayarim, the Shayar is a gatekeepers. Mishpacha Shayu Mishayarim, some were singers, so it was family by family. So if they switch over within their family, right, one family switches over to the other family's job, Heim B'Shalahem, although they're not meant to, but Einar B'Misa, there's no Misa penalty, El B'Ashara, there's a lav. They're warned against doing that. Rashi says, Le'ishpar Shlam, not sure what the lav is. Taisa says, Rabbi Menachem, Nishmasa Eden Pirish, he brings a pasuk, Siv Lishmar Mishmer, so avoid Le'avad, so we have the pasuk which warns against crossing over to the other fellow's task. So there's no Misa, it's not as severe as, the Kehanim and Levim crossing over. Within the Levim families, they're not supposed to, but there's no Misa. Amar Abaye, he disagrees. He says, actually, even within the Levim families, if they cross over, there is Misa. You're meant to stick to your role, and your role only. Amar Abaye Naktina, we have a Kabbalah tradition, a Levi who's meant to be a singer, he's a choir member or a musician, Shashir, decided to do the other Levi's job, to lock up the doors of the Beis Hamikdash, Shel Chaveroi, instead of the other Levi's, doing it. Misa, he's punished with Misa. Shenemar, v'achoinim, l'pnei mishkan kedem, ha'mishkan kedem, l'pnei el moyed, v'azara karev yumas. So, Moshe, Aaron, and all the, they all camped around the Mishkan to guard it, and no zar, no foreigner is meant to enter. Now, what does zar mean? My zar. Who are we warning against? Ilaim zar mamash. We're speaking of actual zar, Yisrael, doesn't belong there. Haksiv Chadazimra, we already have a different pasuk for that. Elsewhere it says, Vazara Karav Yumas. Oh, so it must be a lav. We're speaking not about an actual outsider like Yisrael, we're speaking even within the families. Zar Daisa Avoid, he's a Levi, but he's a Zar with respect to this task. He has a different job, a different role. If he crosses over, Misa would apply. Meisvei comes a kash. You're saying there's Misa even for switching over within the Levi families, Meisvei. Mishayrer, so a Levi who was given a job as a Mishayrer, as a singer, Shashir decided to do the gates, or vice versa. Umishayrer, Shashayrer, Einan v'Misa. There's no Misa applied to L'Basara. There's no Misa b'Yei Shamayim, right? But there's a warning as Hara. There's Malchus for that. So, unlike Abaye who said there's Misa, Tanoi, you're right. It's a Machlekes Tanoim. How far it goes? Some say it's Misa, some say it's Hara. Sani, we have a Brayso which seems to present these two opposing views. Masa Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya, who was a Levi. There's a story about him. Shalach, he went l'sayah to help ba'agafas losses, in the closing of the doors. Eitzel, by, meaning he was helping out Rabbi Yochanan Gudgada, who was a gatekeeper. Maybe his partner didn't show up that day, so he went to help him out to close the doors. Amar loy, so he told Rabbi Yeshua, no, it's not for you, B'ni, my son, chazor l'acharecha, go back. Back off, don't help me out. Because you have a different task. Sha'ata min ha'mesherim, you're a choir member, v'loy min ha'sherim, not a gatekeeper. So he offered his help and he turned them down. What was the machlekes about? I mean, these were great people. They had something in mind. My love, we must say, machlekes revolves around this very point. How severe is it to go and help out the gatekeeper? See, here he wasn't really doing it himself, he was just helping him out. Misayeya. So, he's not really doing the job on his own, just helping him out, giving him a hand. The Mar Savar Misahi. Rabbi Yochanan Gudgada, who sent him away, was of the opinion that the consequence is misa. So if you go and shut the gate on your own, it's misa. And although you're just helping me out, so it's not really your doing, but the Rabbanan, V'gazruba, Rabban made a gzera. Keep away entirely, don't even help me out. Because it might come to do the entire thing. Omar Savar. Rabbi Shua, who offered the help, he held, no, Asara, it's just an Asara. So it's not as severe as Misa. In this case, there's another mitigating factor that I'm not even doing it, I'm just helping you out. And therefore the Rabban did not make a gzera on this. So is that so? That the machlekes is whether it's Misa or Ashara? Law, you don't have to say that. The Kuliyam Asari. Perhaps everybody agrees that if the choir member were to lock the gate on his own, it's just a lav. And the question is whether Chachamim expanded the Isra to a helper as well. Umar Savar Misayah, even though he's just giving him a hand, goes Rabban disallowed it. Umar Savar lo goes Rabban. The other shita says no, there's no issue just giving you a hand as long as you're the one closing. I'm just helping you push it. That's okay. Okay, so in conclusion, we have multiple sources in the Tanakh for the Levim singing and playing music in the Beis Hamikdash, and as we learned, it accompanies the Karbanos for enhancement, for inspiration, for an expression of simcha to Hashem, and it was done during the during the Nisach HaYayin, which is Misamech Elokim V'Anoshim. Nisach HaYayin of the Karbanos Tzibur, the public Karbanos brought in the Beis Hamikdash throughout the year. For instance, the Eilas Tamid, morning and evening, etc. Now comes a shayla. Let's say you have a Karban Tzibur, a publicly offered Karban, but it's not a mandatory Karban. It was a voluntary Karban by Rabbi Avin. Eilas Nidvas Tzibur. How do you have a Eilas Tzibur, which is a Nadava? You have, Rashi says, Ka'etz HaMizbeach, you have money sitting around that were from leftovers from karbanos of various sorts, so that was used to buy animals, and they would keep the mizbeach active. If there was a slow moment, they would bring a karban tzibur as an adava. So the question is, tuna shira, does it require a shira or not? In a tuna shira, maybe not. What are the factors? So the pasuk is speaking about blowing the trumpets and all that. Says al oiloi seichem v'alzivcha shalmechem. So we have the pasuk speaking about them, singing and playing, right? It's interesting that this wasn't one of the psukim that we brought as a raya. Stasis says because it's not clearly articulating that they meant to sing and play. We need that from the psukim, like the pasuk on top here, right? So we see that the instruments were used as part of the shir experience. Now, once we know that, so we put it together. With the pasuk and the Torah that we just quoted, and we understand it confirms for us that in fact there was a shir of the Levium, Because this pasuk of the chatzos were actually done by Kehanim. Interesting. The Levim would sing and play all kinds of instruments, but the chatzos, the trumpets, were something that the Kehanim were involved in. They're the ones that would blow the trumpets. So we're sort of merging together two psuk, and once we know from the pasuk in Tanakh that the Levim were involved in singing, so now we understand that the pasuk in Bamidbar Yud Yud, which speaks about Yom Simchaschem Ayadechem, right? The Tkatem Chatzos, right? It was a joint experience. The Kehanim, the Levim, together. Now the pasuk speaks about Eloi Seichem, plural. So Eloi Seichem Amrachman. Perhaps it refers to both types, mandatory and not mandatory. Achas Eilas Chayva, one is the standard, Talmud, Achas Eilas Ndava, one is that not mandatory. Okay, that's one way. Or you can say Eloi Seichem is going on the Chayva only. The plural is because it belongs to all of us. The Kulu Yisrael Kam Rachman Torah is referring to everybody. All yours, Eilah. But it's just a single type, not the Eilas Ndava. So that's the question, okay? So Shira accompanies Eilas Chayva. What about Eilas Ndava? Tashmai comes in right. So this was when Achaz took over, the king Achaz, and he locked up the Beis Hamikdash, stopped the Karbanis. Then when his son Chizkiyahu took over, reopened, restored everything, and they purified the Beis Hamikdash, and they brought lots of Karbanis. And then they invited the Levim, right? Get up there with their instruments, play and to sing. The pasuk says like this: Vayemer Chizkiyahu. Chizkiyahu spoke. He called out. He said, "Lahalos Olam Mizbeach, ubeis hechel Olam hechel she'Hashem Chatzos." They play Dav Melech Yisrael, and they began the music. The words Vayemer Chizkiyahu indicate that he had some sort of discussion. He wasn't sure, so he turned to the Bezdin for instruction. Now, first of all, what was going on there? What type of singing was going on? Meaning, what carbon was involved? Was it a standard mandatory oila, like a tamid? What's the question? Of course you have to sing. What's he asking for permission? Apparently it was not oilas chayva. It was a donated oila. That was his question. And what was the response? There you go. The pasuk said they began singing, began playing. Perhaps that confirms that in fact even oilas nadavas tzibur requires shira. Amar Rabbi Yosef, no, we're not talking about oilas nadava. Oilas Rosh Chodesh, it was an oila they bring on Rosh Chodesh, a musaf, which is a oilas chayva. So what was his question? The question was, he wanted to know whether it was Rosh Chodesh. Did the Bezdin establish Rosh Chodesh on its right time, meaning on the day after 29? So it's time for Rosh Chodesh. Maybe not. Maybe it's a delayed month, right? So you want to know what's going on in terms of the calendar. Only Abaye. How could you suggest that it was Rosh Chodesh? It was the wrong time of the month. What do you mean, what's this Amr Sachi? How could you suggest that day was Rosh Chodesh? Well, except the pasuk there says that it was already the 16th day of Nisan. Right? So it's way past Rosh Chodesh. Ella Amar, Rami Breid Rabbi. You're right. It was a different carbon. Keves, Haba no Eimer Kaman Boil. His question was the keves, which is another type of oila that accompanies the Eimer, Mechas Eimer, which is on the 16th day of Nisan. And they were about to do that, but he first wanted to know whether it's even the 16th day. Are we on the right time, the right date? When was Rosh Chodesh established? We cover Rosh Chodesh B'zman al-Likra V'Eloi. Was Rosh Chodesh established in its right time? Which case today is 16, or was it established a day later? Which case today is not yet 16, right? That was his question. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? It's already past Pesach. What happened to the Seder? What happened to Matzah? Maskal Ra'avya. Why does he have to clarify now about Rosh Chodesh? Go check. What happened to the current Pesach? What happened to what did they eat the Matzah? Pesach Echiyavit. What day was the Pesach brought? Matzah Echiyachal. When they eat the Matzah? How do you do that? El Ravash. It was the keves with the Eimer. But he wasn't in doubt in terms of the calendar. It was just sort of a formality, a politeness. Like a shliach tzibur in shul, before he goes up to the Amr to daven to represent us, he gets our nod, our approval. The Mimlech who goes and gets the tzibur's approval before presenting them. So likewise over here, before he started with the karbanis, so he got the approval of the tzibur. Says the Gemara, Hashdas lahachi. Now that you've come to this point, that it wasn't a matter of clarifying, facts. It was just, a formality, a show of respect. So you no longer have to say that it was the keves with the omer. It could have been a regular tamid, a regular ilas tzibur. And the reason why he turned around for approval was just out of politeness, out of respect. Okay, so back to our question, which was not yet resolved. Shira accompanies karbanis tzibur chayva. What about nedava? Tashma is a raya. Megalgal schus leim zakai. Hashem will make good things happen on good days. For instance, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, Rashi brings it, right? Chedesh Nisan, right? B'Nisan igalu. Our first redemption from Mitzrayim happened on Nisan. So Nisan becomes a period of zakai, a positive, time on the calendar. And b'Nisan asin ligal, the ultimate redemption, will also occur on Nisan. So it's associated with good things. On the flip side, Hashem will make a negative experience relating to a negative day, a day which is already established as a Yom Chayav. For instance, Tisha B'Av. Due to the fact that the Klal Yisrael cried when the Meraglim came back with their negative report, Hashem says, okay, it's a time of sadness, I'm going to establish it as a time of mourning for the future as well. In fact, the Beis HaMikdash, both of them, first and second, were destroyed on that day. Hashem associates a negative with a negative. Amru. In fact, the Chacham teach us. It's exactly what happened. On the first time Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, what day was it? Tisha B'Av. It was Tisha B'Av. Motzei Shabbos. It was after Shabbos, meaning it was Sunday. Motzei Shvi. So it was the year after Shemitah. So Shemitah is year 7. This was year 8, meaning year 1 of the next cycle. Which rotation of Kohanim were in charge at that point? Who was serving the Mikdash? Mishmart. It was the Mishmar of Shal Yair, of that family. So they were there. And this is what happened. The Kohanim and Levim was standing there, right? Levim was on the stage, to sing their shira with the karbanis. So I'm shira. Uma shira. Which shira were they saying? Which verse? Which chapter? Interestingly, they were singing from the shir that you meant to say on Wednesday. Describing Hashem punishing the goyim, flipping back their tormentation back on them, right? Their oinam, their tragedy back to them, okay? And the ending of that pasuk is key. They didn't get a chance to complete that pasuk before they were attacked and they had to stop. What's the end of the pasuk? Hashem, in fact, you should cut off our enemies. Before they got a chance, the enemy arrived, entered, and conquered. Exactly the same story happened the second time around. The second Beis HaMikdash was destroyed on Sunday. First, you have the Shemitah, etc., etc. Okay. Hi Shira Mavite. Now, what type of Shira were they involved in at that point? Was it on a standard Oilah Tamid? They didn't have access to lambs at that time anymore. Already from Shivasa B'Tammuz, when the siege was on, they had no access to animals. How did they have Oilah Chayva at that point? B'Shivasa B'Tammuz Batla Tamid, the Talmud was already terminated because of lack of sheep. At Shivasa B'Tammuz, 3 weeks earlier, Elulav Dava must have been just a voluntary Oilah. V'Tispra, well, how can you suggest Ma'ishna Oilah Chayva Lehavi? Oilas Chavi, understand they didn't have access to. So Ma'ishna Oilas Dava Havoya. How could they have access to Oilas Dava? I mean, if they have no animal, they have an animal. The answer is a cow. The answer is Ben Bakar, a Kroi Ba'alma. True, they didn't have lambs for the Talmud, but a Ben Bakar, a cow, a young cow, they happened to chance upon. Who this Rami, they happened to find one, and they quickly took the opportunity and were makar of it. Okay, so perhaps we can prove from here then in fact you do shira even on Oilas Nadava. Amar Rava, some say Ravashi, but Tisra, how could you say it was a proper formal shira, which would confirm our point here? It was really the wrong shira. Anyway, shira do you make, because the proper shira for the Sunday, which it was, is Lashem Aretz Malaya, right? To Hashem, right? Is the Aretz and Malaya and all its fulfilled meaning, right? Just because we know that the Shir Shal Yom corresponds to the 7 days of creation. On the first day we sing Lashem Aretz Malaya, corresponding to Hashem, creating the Shemayim and the Aretz, etc., etc. So that's appropriate for that day. Why were they singing Vayashav Alem Es Oinam, that's in Kel Nekamas Hashem, that's for Wednesday. B'Shir Darba, B'Shabbos, so that's for Wednesday. Ella, apparently it wasn't really an official, formal shira. Rather, it was just a happening, so to speak. It was a chance, chant, so to speak. Ilya Ba'alma. It was a sad chant. The Nafal B'mai, which they encountered, they verbalized, because it reflected what was reflective of the sad situation. So in any case, it's not related to our discussion, which is a discussion regarding formal shira only. Ask the Gemara, how could you say it was just a chant? He says they were standing on their stage. It sounds like it was a formal experience. Says the Gemara, no. As per Rish Lakish, Damur says you can do it any time. The Levim have, access to the stage whenever they want. They can do a shira even without a korban. It's not a required mandatory shira. It's not a chiyuv, but they can do whatever they want. If they, they can sing at any time. Likewise, this was the same. It was just a shira, which was not really a formal shira. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, that you can do shira even without accompaniment of a korban, so then what's our whole question? Boilas and dava, nami lemar. So what's your shaila? Can I sing with boilas and dava? Be my guest. You can do whatever you want. So even though it's not required, why not do it? The answer is the difference. Nafik min ha-churba. It's going to create confusion, a misunderstanding. When people will observe the shira happening, even on Oilas and Dava, and knowing that it's just a rishus, it's just a voluntary shira, it's not a required shira, they'll say, oh, okay, so any shira, even Oilas Chayvas, is not really chayiv. You do it if you want. So it's going to create that confusion, and therefore we should not allow non-obligatory shira to accompany the Oilas and Dava, unless it's required. And that's our question. So we're circling back to the question, is it required or not? So what's our conclusion? Tashma is a raya. The Tani Rav Mari Breder Rav Kani has a brisa. So back to that pasuk which speaks about the shira, right? Al oiloi seichem, malzif cheshal meichem, to accompany your oilos yizvachim. The Torah is linking oilos to zvach. Ma oilo kodesh kadashim, just like we know the oilo is the highest level of carbon. Kodesh kadashim, ashlamim, kodesh kadashim, likewise the shlam that we're talking about, is referring to Kodesh Kadashim, which is only one, by the way, only one type of a shlamim of a tzibur, which is Kodesh. That's the kevis that comes with the shtei alechem on Shavuos. Okay, so that's when you have shira, your oilos, your shlamim, and now we also link it the other way. Uma shlamim kovolem isman, just like the shlamim that we're talking about has a set time. It's on Shavuos only. You don't bring it randomly. It's a set schedule for that. Af oila kavola and lazman. Likewise, the oila the pasuk was referring to is a fixed oila which has a set time, which means the oila is chayva, the oila is tamid, etc. That only. But an oila and dava, which is not time synced, there is no shir. Okay, so conclusion. We had a presentation, a daf discussing the mitzvah of shira, which the Levim would do the Beis Hamikdash to accompany the Karbonos during the Nisach Hayayim, which is Mesamech Lakim V'Anashim, Nisach Hayayim, which accompanied the Karbonos Tzibur Chayva. So we had this wonderful choir, accompanied by beautiful music. Must have been a real inspiring, moving experience. I wish you were there. Yep, Mer B'Yameinu, Amen.